to the Ask Me How I Know show. I'm your host, Julie Holly, and I'm so excited you're here. Ask Me How I Know is the only podcast in the multifamily niche replicating what takes place outside the walls of a seminar. Remember when we used to get together like that? This is like the lobby where honest, unscripted conversations take place and transformation happens. We'll talk about practical problem solving in the multifamily niche as well as overcoming mental roadblocks. This episode is brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. 3 Keys Investments is dedicated to helping people like you, you, enter the multifamily investment space to build passive income and legacy wealth. If you haven't already subscribed and reviewed Ask Me How I Know, I'd be honored if you did. Thanks so much for joining me today, and now for our featured guest.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ask Me How I Know. I appreciate you joining me. Today I have a huge special ask, especially by nature of what this episode is about. And so my huge ask to you is that you share this episode with someone important in your life. And as I go through this topic and everything, it will make sense as to why I'm saying, please share this. And just like the precursor to that is that it's because of other people sharing and not direct communication on this topic that we're about ready to jump into that has really changed my life and gave me a lot of the courage to make some significant changes. And so sometimes we're not in a position where we can actually tell somebody directly or confront something that we might see as something someone should be dealing with and maybe managing better in their life. And by sharing something like this, it allows us to say, I care about you, and maybe somebody else's courage is going to help you. So without hesitation, I'm just going to dive right in. Man, I believe in finding your freedom. I believe in freedom completely. The tagline of my company, 3 Keys Investments, is find your freedom. I believe that when people are free, they are able to live these powerful lives that change the world and impact the people around them, their families, their communities, and the world in general. Brendon Burchard, I like what he says, live, love, matter. And really, in order to live, love, and matter, you really have to have internal freedom and capacity to face the world. And in order to do that, we have to have a lot of courage to look inward and reflect inward and say what needs to be extracted from me and what needs to shift so that I can become the next version of myself. There's been a little joke over on LinkedIn. If you're over there, I hope you follow me, connect with me. I love LinkedIn. It's my favorite place. And over there, there's been a little bit of talk about, like, I put something out there that said, like, yeah, then you could be, Jerome version 20.21, right? Because we always want to become like the next version of ourselves. And next year is 2021. And it is just a month away, really, at this point. December launches next week. If you're listening to this episode, like, we've got 1 month until we start this new year, and waiting to become the next version of yourself, you can't wait. There's no reason to wait. And if you're waiting until 2021 to decide who you want to be and what you want to be about, it's going to be too late, and then you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Because then now you're thinking, oh, well, it's January 3rd. I don't have this figured out. So I guess I'll wait till next year. Okay. So go back, listen to some of my other episodes on like how to restart when you're in the middle of something. However, as I've been looking forward to 2021 and really contemplating how I want to grow and who I want to become, I really had to tackle a skeleton in my closet. And I'm going to unpack this whole story. This might be a little bit longer episode. And it could potentially be a little emotional. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to just call it like it is, because calling it like it is what is leading to freedom in my life. And I hope that it leads to freedom in your life. So if you're listening out there, I just want you to ask yourself, how many of you enjoy a glass of wine? If you are out there and you enjoy a glass of wine, we are kindred spirits. I love wine. There's something unique about this is that just by nature, I don't know why, but however my body is wired, like I cannot overindulge in most anything else on the face of the planet. Like I can't overeat; it literally makes me sick, and I can't, you know, have a couple pints without like just feeling gross, and so I don't do that. But wine is like this special category. It's something that I have enjoyed for many years, and I love the flavor. I love the variety. Just don't ever give me a Bordeaux. I don't like Bordeaux. But all this to say is that wine has been part of my life, and I didn't realize fully how much wine had become part of my life until recently. And that recent encounter was that, and I guess really, I'm going to be completely transparent because I'm hoping that this reaches other people. And we're going to apply this in other ways. So if you're listening to this and you're like, Julie, I hate wine. It is so disgusting. I can't believe you drink it. Don't worry. There's going to be an application for you as well. Okay. So hang tight. but through this process, over the last, I would say, 2 years, I realized like, wow, I basically the only time that I haven't not had wine in my life is when I was, bearing children and pregnant and things like that. And I've realized that it's become more and more and more part of my life. And I've realized it's become this crutch, this go-to, this comfort, this, and I could feel that, we could feel that in, right? So I want you to think about, what do you go to when you want some comfort? Well, for me, like it was starting to become this thing, and I could see it becoming more and more so that thing especially over the last year and a half, perhaps 2 years. Like there's this little level where you're like, I don't know. Sometimes you don't know when something happens. And that's the importance of stopping along the way and saying, okay, let me just evaluate my habits, and how are my habits serving me? Are they bringing good things into my life? Are they leading me towards becoming the next version of myself that I want to become? And so I realized long before COVID. So this is not like a COVID thing. So I'm not going to blame COVID on any of this, right? But through this process, I went to my husband maybe sometime in 2019 and said, I think I need to like curb back my wine consumption. And I'm going to be transparent with you. I probably have like 2 glasses of wine a night. It started out as one comfortable glass, and then, you're comfortable and the night's wearing on and you're talking more and you have another glass, and it just happens, right? It just happens, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes for you listeners, podcast listeners. So, my husband's like, oh yeah, like if you want to do that, I'll support you. Well, I wasn't receiving, I don't like anything to be in control of me. I like to be in control of myself. Now, was alcohol in control of me? Let's go into that real fast. I actually did. Being a type A person, I actually took some quizzes to see. I did this yesterday of all days. I took a quiz to see, like, what is an alcoholic? I grew up in a dry home. And so I really didn't have any childhood experiences with alcoholics or alcohol consumption, or I didn't have any context for this. And it was something I brought into my life as an adult. It's fine. It was a choice. And that was also part of me finding my own freedom, was what do I believe in? How do I believe in acting in responsible ways and things like of that nature? And so oddly enough, I found some